Hello and welcome to the Primis Partnerships Hear the Lion Roar podcast. My name is Chris Mason. I'm the Strategic Partnership at Primis, and I'm joined today by my colleague and fellow Strategic Partnership Manager, Liz Wilkie. How are you today, Liz?
Hi, good morning. I'm well, thank you. Looking forward to today's little podcast.
That's excellent news, Liz, and it's great to have you here. But I think we've got a good one today. We're really excited for today's guest, and it's a little something different for the audience, I think. We're joined by Matt Joy, who's the Chief Growth Officer at Smoove. Hello, Matt.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for introducing me. Thanks for having me. Looking forward
Not,
to it.
not a problem at all. Smoove powers our primary conveyancing portal and allows brokers to source and recommend a conveyancer for their customer sale, purchase, or remortgage. So a really key partner for us. So welcome, Matt. So for those that don't know much about you, actually, do you want to just introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So, firstly, thanks for having me on today. Really looking forward to it. I'm as you said, the Chief Growth Officer here at Smoove, which is part of the wider PEXA Group. I've been here about 7 months now, but a little bit of background on me is that I've spent my entire working career in the property industry, on one side of the fence or another, which is coming on to 35 years. Without boring you with my entire CV, I was an estate agent for a few years when I left school, have worked within the conveyancer industry as well. But the last kind of 15 years or so has been kind of selling into the general property industry, estate agents, brokers, mortgage brokers, and conveyancers.
That's brilliant, Matt. Thanks for that introduction. And yeah, the focus of today's podcast is going to be Smoove's broker conveyancing proposition, which we badge as we white label as Primis Conveyancing, and the improvements that you've recently introduced. Yes. We want to bring this to life today, I think, and you're the man to help us, Matt. And we've got some questions that we're going to go through, and hopefully the answers to those questions will showcase the benefits of Smoove for our brokers. Okay, so Liz, do you want to ask the first question? Over to you.
So it's great to have you here today, Matt. And do you want to tell us a bit about what sort of spurred you on to start reviewing your proposition and why you decided to make some changes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a little bit. What we wanted to do was to kind of expand a bit more on the cliche, which is a bit that, well, isn't buying and selling the most stressful thing you're ever going to do? What we really wanted to understand was what is stressful, what creates the stress, and ultimately what great conveyancing looks like. Because we have what we believe to be the best conveyancers on our platform, but yet we still got the feedback that, well, it's still a bit stressful, and there are times at which things don't go to plan. And so what we really wanted to do was really dig deep into what does good look like, what does stress look like, and therefore if we could overcome those problems and solve those problems for everybody, not just the mortgage brokers and buyers and sellers and remortgagers, but also for the conveyancers as well. If we can solve that problem for the conveyancers, then we've really kind of had a positive impact on the industry.
Fantastic. Yeah, nobody needs a stressful experience. I mean, there's always an element of stress when you move. There is always, isn't there? That's kind of a given. So what did you do to sort of understand which areas you talked about, what you sort of stress points were? What did you do to get an understanding of what they were, and how did you make the changes?
Well, so anybody that knows me knows that I love a good quote, and so I'll start by answering that question with a quote from Jeff Bezos. Everybody knows who that is. I don't need to explain. And I'm going to read this to make sure that I don't mess it up. But he says that we aren't competitor obsessed, we're customer obsessed. And so what we really wanted to do was talk to our customers to almost to the point of irritation, and ask them what we needed to do. So I've got two examples. One, we rebuilt our user interface. So that's the interface that your guys will go in and interrogate when they're looking for quotes for their customers. We rebuilt it and we took it back to them and said, well, what do you think about this? Is this intuitive? What do you think this button does? How could we make the journey easier for you? And we represented and represented until we really thought that we'd got under the skin of what it is that they wanted. But we also, at the same time, invested some money in some technology that really listened and interrogated the incoming telephone inquiries that we were getting from our mortgage brokers and from our customers. That sounds a bit Big Brother, but all it really did was it categorized the types of telephone calls we were getting. And then, interestingly, 57% of the incoming telephone calls were queries that we kind of categorized as people looking for general updates, right? So I've not heard for a few days. Can you tell me what's going on? And those were the ones that we really thought, well, they're the ones, if we could just take those out, if we could just answer those questions before they needed to be answered, wouldn't that really help? Wouldn't that really alleviate stress? I would caveat that by saying 24% of those 24% of that category were questions we were never going to be able to head off. That people like the best one I heard was, we instructed our solicitor yesterday, we want to book a holiday. Can you tell us when we're likely to complete, because we don't want it to clash? We're never going to be able to eliminate those types of questions, but there was an enormous number of questions that we thought, or instances that we thought we could eliminate.
Brilliant. So you obviously did quite a lot of testing with technology. You said you engaged with mortgage brokers as well, which is really important, and that's obviously our guys as well. So what areas do you think you need to focus on? What were the results of that testing that you did, really, Matt?
Well, there was a really rich theme through that, which came back to one kind of simple thing that we categorize them as communication, right? So it is about effective communication. Now, we kind of obviously dug a little deeper because we really needed to find a solution to it. What a mortgage broker doesn't want to do when they sit down at their desk in the morning is think, okay, well, I need to update all of my customers. Was that update that I received via WhatsApp or text message or email? Did I get a telephone call? Was it on a voicemail? Is it which system have I got to log into, which hopefully I was, but what system have I got to log into to find the answer? What we realized very quickly was that mortgage brokers want to sit at their desk in the morning, log into a platform, hopefully ours, as I said, and receive the 20 or 30 or however many updates that they need in one place at one time. And so that was really the kind of eureka moment for us, is okay, wow, we have solicitors that are great at communicating, but sometimes it's WhatsApp, sometimes it's email. What we really need to do is to funnel that through our platform and therefore solve the problem for the mortgage broker.
Brilliant. Absolutely. That sounds great. So from that testing and the results of that, that's followed on the launch of your enhanced service proposition. So do you want to just tell us a little bit more about that, Matt, and bring that to life?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So from that, we kind of, we thought, well, we're going to rebrand this. We're going to call it our enhanced service proposition. And the first step along the road for our enhanced service proposition is to launch our communication score. Now, what that is specifically is the brokers and consumers want to receive regular updates. What regular means for different people is different regularity, but we kind of landed on if we updated you every 5 working days with a general update, would that be okay? The answer was yes, so brilliant. If we adhered to a 1 working day response time to any additional inbound inquiries. So have you received my mortgage offer yet? You know, when are we likely to exchange? Those kinds of ad hoc questions. If we could do those two things, would we be able to solve the problem that we knew that we'd found? And it sounds really, really simple, but if we can do those two things through the platform, then we go back to that 57% of our calls, inbound calls, we're looking for updates, that they kind of disappear. I would say that actually we developed some really, really great API integration. Developed a really great API integration, which if a conveyancer has the motivation or effort or resource to do an integration with us, the API, the conveyancer will do the work, update the milestones within their case management system, and there wouldn't be a rekeying of information. The API delivers the update straight away. But that's a kind of utopian world. So getting to the point, what we did was we developed these, and we call them nudges. I think the conveyancer would just call them chasers, but we send these nudges to the conveyancers every morning, and we say to them, if you respond to these queries or provide these updates by this time today, we will give you this awesome communication score. All right. So if I backtrack a little bit and expand on what our platform does, it will help you understand what this communication score is. So if you log into our platform to produce a quote, and you get to the quotes results page, the results or the individual quotes from the conveyancers are listed by price order or distance from the conveyancer, or we give like a star rating, something like a Google star rating, 1 to 5. Now, what that rating does, it's a retrospective view. It's a retrospective look at how the conveyancer has performed in the last 3 to 6 months. What the communication score is, because it's so dynamic in its nature, is that we'll give you a forward-looking view on how the conveyancer is performing. I.e., if a conveyancer is really great at communication and has been for the last 3 weeks, but through no fault of their own, they might have sickness or holiday or not annual leave, but maybe a key member of their team is off. If their communication starts to slow, there's an instant response to that, and the brokers can see that instant response and might make some different choices over which mortgage broker, which conveyancer they're choosing. Now, that isn't to say that's all. It's not that we don't use it as a stick to beat our conveyancers with. What we are saying is, here's the things we're serving up to them, the jobs that if they just did that day would produce a really great score result for them, and they're likely therefore to get more work, because the mortgage brokers will recognize that not only retrospectively they provide a great service, but actually they are currently in the middle of providing this awesome kind of service through the communication methods that the broker's after. That was a really long answer. I'm really sorry.
No, that's okay. That sounds like it can really benefit our brokers and all of their clients, to be honest with you. So what kind of feedback had so far? Has the proposition been received really well by people that have started to use it?
Yeah, really well. I think if I told you the stats, I don't think you'd believe me. I think when we look at our marketing and email communications, where we're talking about standard run-of-the-mill stuff, and then when we start to talk about eConveyancer Plus and the communication score, when we first ran it, we thought there was a problem with how we were measuring the responses, but we've been running it for quite a few weeks now, and we really have hit the nail on the head. The broker community really is interested in this, and so we're really excited about it. Feedback's been brilliant.
Fantastic.
Great. So what do you think we talked about the service proposition, okay, and how clients can benefit and how brokers can benefit from that as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think's next for Smoove and eConveyance? So what do you think? What's next on the horizon for you guys?
Yeah. Well, I think not to really labour on this point, but through the feedback that we got through the engagement that we had with our broker community, the communication score was just the first in a long line of, not long line, that sounds really derogatory, the first thing in a line or on a list of things that we think we can fix. I'd love to be able to talk to you about them, but if we let the genie out the bottle and one of our conveyancers fixes the problem before we do, yeah, I wouldn't be very popular around the office. So I think what's next is we're fixing the issue around communication for our broker community, and there are other things that they've told us they would like us to fix, and those are the things that we're going to be working on. I think if there was from a PEXA point of view, they've got some wonderful things as well. I'd love to come back on in a few weeks' time and talk to you about what PEXA have got in the pipeline. But the theme about all of our product and service innovation is about just reducing stress and trying to make the house buying, selling, and remortgaging process, less stressful. Never going to be stress-free, but just less stressful.
Absolutely. And yeah, anything to make the house buying process or remortgage or selling a property less stressful is a good thing, to be honest, Matt, and would be well received by brokers and customers. So yeah, I think that sounds brilliant. I really appreciate you joining us today and giving us a really good insight into how the new service proposition is landing with the network and with our brokers as well. And I found that personally quite interesting and informative. What about you, Liz?
No, I thought that was really good. It sounds like a really slick process, because often it's the lack of communication that can cause stress when there doesn't actually need to be any stress. Everything is okay. It's just the lack of communication or the breakdown in that causes the stress. So I think that's really beneficial. And I think it's I look forward to hearing from our brokers what they think about the proposition and if it is making their lives certainly a bit less stressful.
I think I'd encourage anybody, and I'm sure you'd agree, Matt, speak to your local Smoove account manager, speak to our experts team about getting registered to use Primis conveyancing, so they can see it and understand it and believe in it, and instruct some sales or purchases or remortgages to it. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us today, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.